Okay, we have quite a few folks here, so we are going to go ahead and get started since we do have a full agenda. And of course, if I see a lot of new names, so if you are joining us for the first time tonight, please do stick around till the end. We'll have open floor, and at that point, we'd love for you to say hello and introduce yourself. We'll get kicked off here pretty quickly. Just a quick reminder, if you were a member of the association previously and you've not yet renewed for this year, please do that before the end of the month so that you can regain your voting privileges right away. If you're not a member and you've never considered or maybe are considering, we'd love to have you join us. You can renew on our website, merionvillage.org. I'll post the link in chat while Eric's giving his update for anyone that would like to do that. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to our treasurer, Eric. Eric, let me bring up the reports for you, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Jess. Good evening, everyone. So we'll start with the balance sheet. We have a little over $3,000 in checking. Savings remains pretty much unchanged at $17,000, and petty cash rate also remains unchanged. There are no really anything I would call out notable in the any of the funds. Any questions on the balance sheet? Okay, then if we switch over to the income statement, you can see we've got some healthy flow of memberships, residential memberships that have started to trickle in. As Jess had mentioned, we're trying to remind folks to renew for this year. Merchandise, we sold one t-shirt. We did get some interest income off of the savings account, which brings our total income to a little over $360. And then our all of our expenses are our normal monthly utilities and rent, which brings us for the month to a net loss of $209. Any questions on the income statement? Okay, we'll also just we'll let everyone know that per the bylaws, we are required to have an audit every year, and so our one of our members, Matt Patson, has graciously agreed to serve on the audit committee again this year. He was on it last year, so we'll try to work with him to get that completed for this year, or sorry, during February, so we can give you a report out on that next month. Any questions for me? Excellent. Appreciate it. Thanks. Back to you, Jess.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, fantastic. We will move right into our variance application. I'm going to give the floor to our current zoning chair, Lauren Cardoni. Before I do, if you're unfamiliar with the way we handle these applications, we have kind of a laid out format. So we're going to ask the applicants to speak for about 5 minutes to talk about the variances that they're requesting. We'll then have another 5-minute period where we ask folks to ask questions about those variance requests. As you ask your questions, Lauren will type them into a sheet and document them on the screen. The applicant won't answer right away. We'll actually give them a second 5-minute period when questions are done so that they can answer all of the questions at once. Once that's finished, we'll move on to voting. Any members who have paid dues, either renewed for this year or paid dues at least 21 days before today, will be asked to vote, and we will go from there. So Lauren, the floor is yours.
Great, thanks, Jess. Good evening, everyone. So we have one zoning variance request that we're reviewing this evening, and it looks like we have David Hodge and John Fauner on the line who will be presenting for us. But we are looking at a duplex property at 199-201 East Markison, and they're looking to just build on top of an existing garage, as far as I understand. And there are a number of variances that are required, some because of conditions that are already existing on the property. But I will let them go into a little bit more detail about it. So David, take it away.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Lauren. Hello, everyone. David Hodge here, attorney for the applicant and property owner, John Fauner, who is here with us this evening. Also have Kyle Green, from the Gunzelman architecture firm, and Kyle is going to share his screen if someone can authorize him to do that, and be the Vanna White as we walk through some of these, some of the imagery they put together.
You should have access to share now, Kyle.
Let's see here. Let me know when that pops up.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay,
Awesome.
so
Yeah, thank you. So you can
Just
see
a quick
here.
reminder, guys, if we can focus primarily on what's going to be necessary for the zoning variances. We don't need to see as much of the architectural renderings and things.
okay.
Okay, very good. And I'll hustle. I'll try not to use all 5 minutes. So the property is at the southeast corner of Markison and 6th. It's currently a duplex with a garage on the south side of the property. You can see here some photographs, very well-maintained property here in Merion Village. The concept here is to take the existing garage structure to do a small addition out towards 6th on the west side of the building. That's to accommodate a stairwell to get up into a carriage house unit on the 2nd floor. You might flip over to the architecture, Kyle, for the well, I guess just stay here and maybe point to things as I go on the variance request. As this group has seen a million times in the past, a number of variances to accommodate a carriage house, and I'll walk through them one by one. We have a parking reduction. 6 spaces are required for the 3 units. 3 are provided on the property, so it's a reduction of 3 spaces. There's ample parking, on-street parking here all along 6th to accommodate the overflow, and there's a good argument to be made that 2 per unit is too many anyway. We have a variance to allow the 3rd unit in the R2F district. R2F allows doubles, but we're asking for a 3rd unit here above the garage on the south side of the property. We have a variance reduction to reduce the width of the lot from 50, which is required, down to 43. And the lot is already 43 feet wide. So that's one of those where we are legitimizing an existing condition. We have the request to allow the 3 units on a lot that's 5,547 square feet. That's because of the 3rd unit here. We have a variance to reduce the building line down to 3 feet along Markison. That's to legitimize an existing condition. I thought that was going to say to 6th, and maybe that's a typo in the statement. I think that is to 6th actually. So that's to 3 feet on 6th. That's to accommodate that stairwell addition on the west side of the carriage house. Maximum side yards, 8.6 feet are required. We are requesting 7.2. Again, that's to accommodate that addition out to the west side of the carriage house. Minimum side yard, 5 feet are required. We are requesting down to 3 for the same addition. Rear yard, 25% of the total lot area is required for rear yard. We are requesting that to be reduced to 0, which is essentially what it is now. We are in the rear yard a little bit with this minor addition here on the west side of the structure. But it's already an existing condition where we have a rear yard that doesn't strictly comply with the R2F district. There's one that's not on the list that I need to add here, and that is vision clearance up at the corner. You can see Kyle and his folks drew in that triangle up there at the corner. It says 17 by 17 vision triangle. The code actually requires 30. That's an existing condition, but it's a technical issue that we ought to address as we are going through this process. Now, Kyle, even though this isn't really relevant to the discussion, flip over to your elevation. You can see that Gunzelman has really, the color one, if you don't mind, has really designed a I'd call that a handsome addition to a block structure here in the neighborhood. Through this process, we commit to substantial similarity to the architecture here. And while it's not really relevant to the overall process, this is the end result that would occur as a result of an approval ultimately with Columbus City Council. So I'll stop there, and we are all on hand to answer any questions that come up. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Kyle, if you can stop sharing your screen, I will pull up the variances and question sheet.
And if you are familiar with Zoom, if you're using the app and you'd like to use the raise hand feature, I will call on you as I see your hand raised. If not, if you're just on the phone, I'll certainly open the floor to make sure that we capture everyone's questions.
Okay, so you should be able to see my screen with the list of now 9 variances. Is that
We sure
correct,
can. Yep.
David?
Okay, I don't see any hands raised yet. Is there anyone that has any questions that they would like to ask about these variances?
My name is Brandon Prince. My partner and I own the house at 189 and 191 East Markison, right across 6th Street from the property that is looking to have variances done. Not so much questions regarding, but just more so concerns. First, regarding the reducing of parking from 6 down to 3 spots. Having lived in the property for 5 years, we've noticed over those 5 years that there's been multiple instances of car crashes on 6th Street. One in which my partner's car was totaled while parked on the side street on 6th, and another incident in which 2 cars were sideswiped just due to cars turning in and out of the alleys or quickly turning onto 6th Street due to the congestion, especially south of the alley. Also, just another thing regarding parking is there are a total of 8 houses just south of the alley on South 6th Street. Of those 8 houses, 3 of those houses have garages. Of those 3 homes that have garages, only 2 out of the 3 use their garages to store their vehicles, which leaves an additional 6 homes using the street for parking. And currently, out of those 6 houses using the street for parking, fortunately for us, there's only 3 of those homes are single occupant, which mean they only have 1 vehicle that's parked on the street. But that's not necessarily to say that that will continue, as they're single family homes. And if there are 2 occupants living in each home, you would likely see 2 vehicles. And we occasionally see on that side of the street, cars will overflow into the north side of South 6th, north of the alley. Another thing just to mention is
Brandon, I'm sorry, just one moment. We only have about 5 minutes total. We do need to capture actual questions that folks may have.
Yep.
So if you do have any questions, I want to make sure we capture those.
Sure. I don't have any questions currently, just more so concerns regarding the variances. Thank you, though.
Let's just take a moment just to make sure we get everyone's questions, and if we have any time left, we'll also capture the rest. It looks like Zoom may have made some changes that I was not aware of. A hand raise feature may not be super accessible, so I'm just going to kind of open the floor. I do see Lauren Larrick has her hand raised, so it's working for someone. Lauren, you want to go ahead, and then we'll just open the floor from there.
Hey, it's actually Mike Gooch.
Oh, Mike, okay, go ahead.
I just had a question, is if there are other properties that are, using a single lot with a duplex that have a third, a carriage house in them. So I think we've seen plenty of carriage houses on here with single family homes up front. I'm not aware of a duplex with a third. And that's my only question.
Thank you much. We will add that to the list. Okay, anyone else? Just feel free to speak up if you're not able to use hand raise and you have a question.
Is this owner occupied? Does he live there in one side?
We've got that one as well. All right, anyone else?
Hey, Jessica, it's Steve. I'm curious just what the price point is that they're coming in at. Just generally want to weigh in pro density as well on this. So yeah, excited to see folks looking to do something there.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have about a minute left if there's any final comments, and then we do need to move over to the answer portion and let the applicants respond. Okay, all right, we're going to move over to the answers. David or anyone else from your team?
Jess, sorry, real quick, can I add one to the list?
Sure, go ahead.
And it's not really relevant to the voting, but just curious what the intent of the addition will be.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Okay, David and your team, I think you'll probably be able to see the questions that Lauren has there, so just go right ahead when you're ready.
Okay, very good. In terms of number one, you know, we believe that there is ample on-street parking here along this section of 6th to accommodate the 3-space parking reduction. I also would make the argument that 6 parking spaces for this configuration is excessive. So, you know, we think that this density here, this parking situation is not going to exacerbate or provide a lack of availability of on-street parking here. Number 2, I agree, it would be a great addition to the alley. It's handsome architecture. It's a great investment into a neighborhood that has seen, fortunately, lots of new investment recently. As to number 3, I don't know the answer to that question. I haven't personally been involved in any where there was a carriage house requested in addition to a duplex. Maybe the folks at Gunzelman have seen that or have handled one of those. So I'll pause a minute here and let Kyle weigh in if he's familiar with any.
Not in Merion Village. I know we've done one in a project in Old Town East. That was a new duplex and a carriage house. You know, we do a ton of carriage houses, like you said. There's a lot in the area. I'm not thinking of one that has a duplex and a carriage house off the top of my head, or an address. I can look into it and see if there's other in the area, though.
You did that project in Old Town for me on Clifton Avenue with a duplex and a carriage house in the back, I think.
Yes, sir.
So we don't know the answer to that question, unfortunately. I will say that the city planning office has done their evaluation and they're supportive of the concept of adding this carriage house to the duplex for what that's worth. Is the duplex currently owner occupied? No, it is not. The owner is here if people have particular questions for Mr. Fauner, but it is an investment property and it's a rental property.
David, if I can add something
sure.
there, this is John Fauner. I lived in the unit from 2012 when I purchased it for 5 or 6 years, then got remarried, moved back to Cincinnati. But one of the tenants in the duplex is my nephew. He and his family just moved from California. I expect they'll be there for a little while they get their feet underneath them. And part of the purpose or the intent, it's a later question. I've got a son and his girlfriend, pretty serious girlfriend, who may likely live in Columbus. So by the time we get this done, we may have another Fauner living on the property too.
And so, John, thank you for that. Why don't you stay on here and answer number 6 as we get there. Number 5 is pro density. Excited to see the addition. Mr. David, I totally agree with you. Columbus is already under a tremendous amount of pressure from a housing perspective, and the recent Intel announcement is not going to help anything at all. We have desperately got to be aggressive and create more units, not just in our urban neighborhoods, but just about every place to accommodate the influx of residents that Columbus is fortunately seeing. So intent of addition, John, why don't you take that one?
Sure. The intent, my son may or may not move to Columbus, but it is a long-term investment. I like the neighborhood a lot, and plan to live there. It will be a lease rental unit. Not at one point, conversation came up about being Airbnb kind of stuff, and my intent is to have long-term leasehold folks. The tenant in the other side in 199 is, I think, 5 or 6 years into their lease, so and I don't see them moving it either. So I'm very much into long-term tenants, long-term investment in the property.
I think number 7 is also you, John.
Yeah, the current garage is mostly used for storage right now. Particularly my nephew moved to a bigger house from California. They, I think, are currently parking one car on 6th, and then the other cars in the family, I think, are using Marcusson Avenue parking, and the other tenant as well.
In the future, as this goes through the process, you would assign
yes,
one parking space to each of the units.
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any final questions that we can answer quickly before we move on to voting?
Was there an answer about the, I think there was a question about the rent.
That's kind of difficult to tell given the price of construction materials these days. But I like to price the units for long-term tenancy. I've not raised the rent on the one tenant that's been there for 6 years. They're good tenants, and I've got no reason to scare them away. But exactly where this price is out is kind of hard to tell with construction materials.
Okay, thanks.
Did that answer the question?
I would think so.
Okay.
Okay. So we have responses to all of our questions. If there's nothing final, we will move on to voting. All right, so what I'm going to do here is look at the list of folks we have attending tonight, and as I see your name and compare you here to the membership list, I will ask you to vote. There are a total of 9 items, as you can see on the screen. You can choose to vote for each item individually as far as, if you'd like to vote in support of some and opposed to others. So when I call on you, please just let me know if you're voting in support or opposed to all, or if you have specific numbers that you'd like your vote to be particular on. At the end, if I will double check to see if I've missed anyone. Just a reminder, if you are a new member of the association and it has been less than 21 days since you joined, you will not be able to vote this evening, but you will certainly be able to vote in future discussions. So, all right, let's just go down the list here. First up, Allison Wilford.
I hate always being first.
Well, you have an A name.
I know, I'm gonna change it. I will, I support it. I support.
Okay. So a yes to all 9 items?
Sorry, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, is Rada with you?
No.
Okay. All right, next up, April Jones. April, haven't seen you in a while. Hello.
Hi, Jess. Hi, guys. I vote yes to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. And next up we have, I'm so sorry here, the names are moving around on me. Give me just a moment, folks. David Hoyt.
Yes to all.
Thank you very much, David. Okay. Eric Stegmuller.
I support all 9.
Thank you. Mark, with you?
No.
Okay. Let's see here. Aaron Sink.
Yes to all.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay. Kevin Parzich.
I am actually going to abstain from voting. I'm employed at Gunzelman, but I generally do support this project and I think it's great. So
All right, thank you.
conflict of interest, but I like the idea. So no vote for me.
We completely understand. Thank you very much, Kevin. All right, let's see here. Lauren Larrick.
I vote yes for all.
Okay, and Mike?
Yes for all for me.
All right, thank you both. 1 second here, just to get those documented. Okay. Lena Gradusky.
I vote yes for all except number 1.
Except number 1. Number 1 is a no or an abstain.
And no.
Okay, thank you, Lena. All right, let's see here. Down the list a little bit. Miles Thomas.
Yes, I vote in support of all of the items.
Thank you very much, Miles. All right. Nikki Cooper.
Hi, I vote yes to all.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, let's see here. Steve David.
Yes to all. Thank you.
And is Carrie with you?
Yeah, hold on.
Yes.
Hi, Carrie. Yes to all?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you.
Thank you both. All right. And let me just check here to see if I've missed anyone. Okay, it looks like I've gotten through. Is there anyone else here that I may have missed? Okay, sounds like we're good to go. So we have a total of, I'll kind of group these together. We only have one that's different. So on item number 1, we have yes in support, 1 opposed, and 1 abstention. And on items 2 through 9, we have 12 in support, no opposed, and 1 abstention. So each one of these items has passed this evening.
I forgot to ask Jess if the nephew was a member.
That's a great question. I'm not sure. John, if your nephew's not a member, please
If
ask
not,
him.
we can definitely get him signed up.
Absolutely.
He will be very soon.
There we go.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here tonight and for presenting. And thanks to everyone. I know this was a big group, lots of votes. I appreciate everyone's patience as we work through the process. So, and Lauren, thank you for controlling everything on the screen so everyone was able to see what was happening. We appreciate all of you and making this process run pretty smoothly.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Thanks again. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the guest speaker we have joining us this evening. As some of you may be familiar, we have a new neighbor in Merion Village, the Open Shelter, which recently opened, I believe, in January on Parsons. And I'm going to yield the floor to their director, Shelly Mathias, who's going to give us some information about the Open Shelter. And after she speaks for a bit, we will certainly open the floor if folks have questions they'd like to ask. So, Shelly, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation for being here. We are new to the South Side. We opened January 4th. We're thrilled to be in our new location. It's beautiful. It's large. It's open. It's everything we hoped for. We actually have been in existence for 38 years. We have changed as the needs have changed. And are finding ourselves being on the South Side that the needs are changing again. We very much pride ourselves on seeing the needs and connecting people to resources that can take care of that need. And if we can't find it, then we figure out how we can meet it ourselves. So we currently operate Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 for our guests. We are a day shelter advocacy center, so nobody sleeps there. We provide a hot meal when we open at 10. It's delicious. If you want to eat, you need to come at 10 because if you come at 11 or 11:30, it will probably be gone. We provide sack lunches to everyone that comes, and those are all donated. And we have had so many people donating lunches that most people are getting 2 sack lunches every day, particularly in weather like this and what we're seeing today and into tomorrow. our friends that are sleeping on the land will hunker down and not come out. And so we made sure that they were getting all that they needed to get them through the next few days before they felt like they could get out. So we do work with people outside on the street, and we do provide supplies. The reality is there aren't enough shelter beds in the city of Columbus. And on top of that, the shelter is a difficult place to be. It's certainly not for everyone. And there will, the reality is there will be people living on the land. And so we try to keep them safe and stable while, partnering with them to help them, determine what's next for them. So are you ready for housing? What do you feel like you need? And so we pass out tents and tarps and sleeping bags and candles and matches and batteries and flashlights, and this time of year, foot warmers and hand warmers and lots of socks and hats and scarves. In the summertime, we add in bug spray and sunscreen, what you need at the time. And we are noticing, having moved to the south side, that we're seeing less campers than we did downtown. I suppose it's just the location, but we're hoping that people find us and find the resources that they need. We also worked with people who are housed. So people who, when they pay the bills, there isn't a lot left. And so we're happy to help you with whatever the need may be. If you're new to housing, we can help you with sheets and towels and pots and pans and dishes and silverware and all of those things you need to get started, and help connect you with services that might help with utilities like PIP and HEAP. So we can connect you with all of those things. We do clothing. So if you're outside, you can get a clean outfit once a week. If you're inside, once a month. If you get a new job or you have a job interview, we're happy to dress you for that. We keep a lot of black pants and black shoes because that seems to be high on the list. So you can come to us and we'll get you set up with that. We also, with this new space, have an extra room, which we're not used to having extra anything, but we have this extra room, and we have people from the REACT program. I don't know if you're familiar. It's through Southeast. They do incredible work. They work directly with hospitals. When people overdose, they go in and immediately offer treatment programs, fast tracks to treatment, which is huge. And then they also come to us, as well as other locations. And, anyone that says, I'm ready, they get them connected. So detox, treatment programs, and then they also pass out Narcan. And so they've done amazing things. They're loving, being able to come to our location. Once a week, we have Mount Carmel Street Medicine come, and they have a big RV. And on that RV, they can do lots of things. I'm sure, I don't know all of them. I know they can do kind of small scale x-rays. They can do small procedures. I'm sure there's lots more, but they set up in our extra space, kind of like triage. And so people sign up and they go in and they let the nursing staff know what's going on. And then they kind of determine what makes sense. Can I help you right here? Do you need to go to the bus? Do you need to see a doctor? And they can facilitate all of that and provide transportation. And that has been big. In fact, they have added staff because they've had such a big response coming to our space. So we're loving that as well. Another big program we do is we're the representative payee for about 55 people. So those are people that receive either supplemental security income, or some of them are veterans that receive money through the VA and are not allowed to manage their own money. So we do that for them. And that is something that we enjoy doing. There are days where it feels like you have 50 teenagers wanting to know why I can't have $20. But it's good. It's something, to work with them and teach and show and talk and learn to live within that budget. And so that's something we very much enjoy doing. We're the mailing address for a couple hundred people. So people on the land don't obviously have a home address. And it's also a secure address. So even people who might have a home, it's a secure place to get your mail. So it can come to us. And we are having some hiccups being in the south side. So we're trying to work that out with our mailman. He keeps bringing us these little tiny bits of mail, and I know we have to have more mail somewhere. So we're working very closely with the post office, trying to make sure all of our mail gets to us. There's probably lots of other things we do. This time of year, again, we're a place where you can come and stay and get warm. The Church for All People down the street are doing their fantastic overnight stays from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And so we're a place where they could come during the day and get warm, in the summertime get cool, which is a nice change because our old location was cold in the winter and warm in the summer. So this is going to be really nice to actually have warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We take lots of donations. We take everything except furniture because we just simply don't have the space to store it. But lots of donations. If there are things that we can't use, we're good sharers. So we share with lots of organizations. And I've been meeting with people from from Reeb Avenue and from Stowe and from Church for All People, trying to make sure that our services make sense. So we're not repeating a lot of services, but we're sort of working together and referring people back and forth. So we're meeting the needs of as many people as we can. So yeah, we're just really, really happy to be there. The space is beautiful. Of all of the people I've interacted with, I would say 90% are thrilled that we're there. So that's been really, really nice. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Shelley. I see 2 questions in chat, so I'm going to go ahead and ask those for you first, and then we'll just open the floor and let people ask their questions. But I just want to quickly say, you guys are offering such a bounty of services, which is incredible to see. So just thank you for all your work. It's really wonderful that you can do so much in one space. Both of the questions that we have in chat are kind of similar. Folks who want to donate, do they just come to the shelter on Parsons to donate, or are there certain hours that they should be doing that? What does donation look like? And then anyone else, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, so we are open for donations Monday through Friday, 9 to 2. If that doesn't work, which I obviously understand, people have jobs. There are occasions a couple times a month where we're there on the weekends, and we can certainly work that out. But generally it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 2. And we absolutely love our donation drop off. We were on the 2nd floor in our last location. So everything is on the same level. There's no steps. And you pull around back, and we have a big garage door. You press a button and it opens up and you collect the donation. So it's really nice.
Eric, I see your hand up, so just feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, and thanks so much, Shelley, for coming tonight. I was going to ask, how can we, the neighborhood, help you guys? I know some of the things that we had talked about in our board meeting was, can we sign up to serve meals and help with that? We can do a clothing drive on our own and collect items in our info center and then bring them over. How do we help you? What do you need from us?
Yeah, that's a great question. So clean out your closets, especially men. We get lots more women's clothing donated than we do men's, but we see a lot more men than we do women. So clean out your closets. Even as I mentioned, small household things. So if you've got lamps, or I actually had somebody in today looking for a microwave. So if you just have things that you're not using, like I said, if we can't use it, we'll find someone that can. So we're always in need of shelf-stable food. We give campers food twice a week. Obviously, they don't have refrigerators and kitchens and whatnot, so we give them small bags. Some do have the ability to cook, most do not. So, a meal in a can, like beef stew that has a pull tab, super simple. Anybody can use it. You don't need a can opener. Things like that are super helpful. As far as coming in and serving, absolutely. We have 4 full-time staff. And then we have 1 part-time outreach worker. So, we are very reliant on volunteers. So if you came in to volunteer, you could be sorting through donations, you could be hanging clothes, you could be putting sandwiches in lunches. We do serve that hot meal, as I mentioned. Our intention is to put in a kitchen. I had no idea all that was involved in putting in a kitchen. So I'm learning a lot. So that's going to take some time and some money. So hopefully in March or April, we'll look into starting that. So right now we have groups bringing hot meals to us, or we've, on a few days, we've used roasters to warm things up. But yeah, so you could come in and serve at 10, which, you know, I love this community of people. So I love being in a place where I can interact. So if that's something that appeals to you, absolutely. So you would just reach out, give us a call or email us, and we can set something up. But yeah, we love volunteers.
So if we wanted to like adopt a day or you know, every month or so often or however often, we could say, we're going to try to get you 10 people to come in, you know, something like we can plan something. Excellent. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask?
Do you have a parking lot?
So we do have a parking lot. It's funny you ask. We had no parking in our last place, so we were super excited to have 5 parking places. So the gentleman that owns our building also owns the little building to the north of us. And it is currently not occupied, but it has a parking lot behind it. So technically we have 5 spots. It's supposed to be marked and lined. That hasn't happened yet. So we're having a little issue with our guests using it, which causes a lot of problems, even though there's street parking. But you know, our hope is in the future when volunteers come, they would be able to use the parking lot as well. But so far there's been plenty of street parking, so.
Wonderful. Okay. Shelley, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I was thrilled that you were able to join us and be able to speak to folks and tell folks, you know, what all you guys are doing. You have my contact information, so if you need support from the community, please reach out to us. Oh, Lena's got her hand up.
One more in the question, yeah, in the chat. Sorry, I didn't want you to miss Lena's question. She asked, "What are the most needed items?"
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, so I know it's not glamorous, but honestly, one of the most needed items is men's underwear. You know, when you come in once a week and get a clean outfit, it'd be nice to be able to get a pair of clean underwear, right? And we just simply, you know, we get it in and it goes out as quickly as we get it in. So not glamorous, but that is, I actually just had a conversation with somebody who works at a church, and they're going to start doing undie Sundays, right? Pick a day, you know, where people bring in underwear, you know, men's underwear. So it's, you know, it's funny.
What kind of
Everybody
underwear?
wears it, but nobody wants to talk about it.
What size?
Yeah, so I would say that boxers are more popular than briefs, but obviously we'll take anything, and it would be a range of sizes. I mean, you know, you can imagine we see them in all sizes, all shapes and sizes. So I mean, anything, you know, we would be thrilled. But
when you say boxers, do you mean like the tight ones or the loose?
So I mean, when I say boxers, I mean the loose ones, but the boxer briefs are not bad either. You know, I don't know. People don't seem to wear tighty whities like they used to. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so no thongs and tighty whities.
Yeah, tighty whities, at least, you know, they are not as desired as some of the others, but so. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for inviting me. I want to be a good neighbor. We all want very much to be a good neighbor. And if you ever have concerns or you hear people that have concerns, I would much rather they just pick up the phone and call me and we'll work it out. So we have had some neighbors, you know, frustrated with the dumpster, which I fully understand because people go through the dumpster and they make a big mess, and I understand that. And so we dealt with that, and we, you know, so I definitely, you know, we love it here. We want to be part of the neighborhood, and we want to be good neighbors. So I just encourage you to, you know, do not hesitate to call. I would much rather have a conversation than hear about it some other way.
We do have, Shelley, just for your information too, we do have business memberships for nonprofits. So we can definitely send that over and work with you, to make sure that we can, mutually support each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Shelley, so much. As always, please, reach out to us. And if you guys have anything coming up that you want us to share with the community, we are always happy to do that. And then, of course, everyone else, if you have any other questions or you think of anything, or you have neighbors who think of anything, you can always send stuff to us and we're happy to get it to Shelley, whatever works for folks. So we just appreciate you being here and being a good neighbor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Great night. All right, guys, well, we will move on to our next item here, Mba Volunteer Opportunities. So we were just talking about volunteering. Let's talk about it a little bit more. So I'll talk about our hottest volunteer item right now, the big one. Lauren Cardoni, as you may know, is our zoning chair, but she will be moving away here in the very, very near future. And so we are looking for someone to step in and take over the chairing of the zoning committee. Lauren, do you want to just take a couple minutes and just kind of give folks a rundown of like what that looks like and what you do?
Sure. So it's looking like March will be our last month in the neighborhood. So that's only one more meeting. So someone will need to train up and take over for April, possibly. We don't actually have zoning requests for every meeting, so it's not a super overwhelming job. We get contacted by the Southside Area Commission anytime a zoning request comes through that's within the boundaries of Merion Village. They're pretty typically like what we saw this evening, people wanting to build carriage houses in their backyard or an addition on their home. Sometimes we'll see some bigger requests come through for like multifamily developments, but those are a little less frequent. So it's really interesting to see everything that's going on in the neighborhood. And really the only responsibilities are coordinating with the applicant to get them to show up to the meeting, and then communicating back to the Southside Area Commission about the final vote from our association. And then we typically put together just a quick little notice, a physical piece of paper that lists out the zoning variances similar to what you saw earlier on the screen that we distribute to adjacent neighbors, typically just a few houses on each side, so that folks can show up to the meeting to express concerns, ask questions, that sort of thing. So we've got a whole, I think, Word document that lists out all the responsibilities, and I'm happy to walk anyone through the process if they're interested.
Thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you for serving in this role now for, it's close to 3 years, I think. It's been a while, and you've been amazing. And Lauren helped as well. We've really restructured our process, especially when we converted to remote meetings, to make sure that we could, go through these zoning items and hear, what we're actually voting on and have an opportunity to ask questions. So thank you for helping us work through that process and streamline it so that it worked well for everyone. We appreciate that. All right. Well, if you have any interest in that role, or someone who does, please just have them reach out to us. We're obviously interested in getting them connected with Lauren as quickly as possible. David, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Lauren, for anyone who might be interested, how much knowledge of relevant zoning laws and regulations do you find is required, or is that something where the people who are applying for it tend to know it and you just sort of facilitate things?
It's more about facilitation. I mean, I've got a background in city planning and real estate, so I know a good bit, which has made it more interesting for me. But I think it's a good learning experience, but not required. Really, it's just emailing people, making sure they show up, and then passing along the vote tallies. The application is submitted by the property owner or the representative directly to the City of Columbus. So the City of Columbus is actually who reviews the specific zoning variances to make sure they're requesting the right things. And they do all of that sort of checking. So we don't really have to know much. And Jess, I was actually going to ask, does it matter if someone is a association member? Do they need to be a member to be a committee chair?
Let me double check the bylaws. It's been a while since we've actually had kind of a change in chair. I do believe to chair a committee, you must be a member. Yes, you can be a non-member and be participate in a committee, but I do believe that we require someone to be a member to chair. So I will double check on that. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And of course, if anybody has any questions about that, just reach out to us and we will get you the information, because we would certainly be interested in having someone volunteer for that role. Our second hot item on the volunteer list is a little different. So this is a seasonal item. Allison, I'm going to give you the floor here in a second. So we're going to start building up the garden tour planning committee for the year. Allison has agreed to chair that again. Very, very thrilled that she's doing that, because it is a huge job. But we certainly need volunteers to help. So Allison, if you want to let folks know what kind of support the committee be looking for, and yeah.
Any kind of support that anybody is willing to give. So lately it has been me and my family. And I think sometimes my family gets annoyed, but it'd be great to have some other folks come in and just kind of, you know, again, I'm willing to accept whatever kind of help anyone is willing to give, whether it's looking for gardens, meeting with them, delivering letters, whatever it is. It's really, the last couple of years with it being mostly online, it hasn't really been too crazy. But I think where we could really use the growth is finding new gardens. It seems like sometimes we're pulling teeth to get people to do it. So people are either like super interested, or I kind of have to beg them to do it. And so that's probably the biggest place. And then from there, it's just getting people to answer questions, filling out the application properly, and verifying information with them, and then putting the book together, which again, the last 2 years we've left it online. So our expenses have been very minimal.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
Go ahead, Allison. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, then we do the the virtual tours, which are nice, and I think we'll probably still do those, because I think that people who are homebound, or even just to have content, is good. Questions, or Eric, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to echo. I've been on served kind of as the board rep on the committee the last couple of times we did it before COVID, and we had a couple in the neighborhood who recently has retired and moved to Florida that were big participants, and they really helped identify potential, I guess, candidates, if you will. So that's like a big need that we have, is people that are just, if you walk around the neighborhood a lot, walk your dogs, walk to yourselves, and notice those type of things, like just getting a list of like, here's who we need to go talk to, I think is super helpful. And that's what the Redux, a big role that they played. And then the other piece really is kind of on the marketing side, right? So, which Allison's been gracious enough to usually kind of like do both, but in my opinion, from my seat where I sit, those are the two big things that we could definitely have some help. So if you're creative and you like to walk, and or one of the two, those are really probably where we could have some help. Not super time intensive at all.
Oh, now your mic's not working at all.
This headset makes me crazy. You can hear me though through my camera, I think. I hope you
Yep,
can hear me
we can.
okay. Yeah, and Jessica is going to help us with some of the marketing, so that definitely is going to be a huge help. It just takes away, just gives me a little bit of time back instead of having to do it myself. So that'll be helpful to have her there on that. And I am going to reach out to Sherry Ray again because her and Mark used to do that a lot. And she had some health issues with her mom, and so she kind of stepped away a little bit. But I will tap into her a little bit. And then I don't know if you guys have seen the guy on Markison and Bruck, the corner there. You guys, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It is amazing. And I've asked him to be on it before, but he also had a mother who he took care of. So I don't know. I don't want to be like, dude, mom still alive? But I definitely want people to get to enjoy his space. And we talk to him all the time, like in the spring and summer and fall. And he invited us to come in his yard, and he was like, anytime on the weekend that my gates are open, you can come back here, which is weird, but also cool.
Yeah.
I'm hoping in the near future we can get him on. And then of course, any of you that, and the beauty of our garden tour, and I tell people this all the time, we have such a wide range of gardens. And that is who we are as Merion Village. And people are like, oh, my garden's not good enough. But that's not what people are here to do. They're not here to judge you. They're here to see the variations, right? And, hey, maybe you have one thing in your garden that somebody's like, oh my gosh, I love that. I want to do that in mine. Or how do you do this or whatever? So it's just a great opportunity to meet your neighbors, especially when people are out and about again. And it's a good time. I mean, who doesn't like to look at flowers and be outside, So I encourage you or your friends to join, and I promise it is very painless.
I still remember the year that Todd had all of his marigolds like that. He just filled up three sides of his backyard with marigolds, and like that was the attraction to the garden.
And marigold, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And even like the year that Aaron, you were on, when it was because y'all used all of your own like handmade or hand tools. So your whole garden was taken care of by hand tools. I thought that was really cool too. So very unique, to your point, Allison, variations across the neighborhood.
And sometimes it's like just raised beds, like so that's cool too, and again, it's really just a good opportunity to meet your neighbors and somebody that you may not have met otherwise. And people love it. They do. When I joined the board, there were some people who wanted it to go away. And that's why I took it over, kind of out of necessity. And because I thought that was terrible to just like let it go after so many years.
Now we're in what year? 22, 23, I think this will be.
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's long running. And if I see a lot of new names, so if you're new to the area, if you've never been to one of our garden tours in person, head over to our YouTube channel, because we do have the last 2 years. We have a playlist for each of the last 2 years for the virtual tours that Allison put together, which are incredible. And yes, I'm not the one that had to do the work for these, so it's easy for me to say, but I hope we always have a virtual tour from now on, because I go back and watch them. It's awesome to, in the middle of winter, be able to watch beautiful garden tours from your own neighborhood. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out. Could inspire you to maybe join the tour yourself this year, or tell your neighbor who you think has a cool yard. I've got a neighbor I've been working on for 3 years, so this might be the year. We'll see.
If John doesn't agree, then just tell me and we'll go over and like march on his house.
Okay. Like, pick it out front, join the garden tour. Okay, we can do that. So yes, if you're interested at all, please let us know. Allison would definitely love the help. We would love the help for her as well, and we're excited to get back to an in-person garden tour this year. So, okay, more about
going to be real quick. do you guys, I mean, like, obviously we're going to go off whatever the MBA feels, but, last year we were like a little bit in person, right? It was like kind of do what you want.
It's a hybrid. Yeah, that's the plan as of today, and we're doing the same for the festival, which I'll talk about in a minute. If we're looking forward from today, barring something horrible happening, that is what we're planning for. Because, with these big events, you have to start planning early. You can't really put it off. So that's the direction we're going. Obviously, always keeping safety in mind, and of course, any recommendations. But that is our current plan, is to move forward with the expectation of the events being in person. So.
And the garden tour is usually July. Is that correct?
Yes. Second Sunday in July.
Got it.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about volunteering, because I know you're not sick of hearing about this yet. And, you guys may want to volunteer. You've got neighbors that you can talk into. We're also looking for folks who want to get involved with our beautification committee. That will also need a chair. But just in general, we'd like to kind of build that committee up and get some folks participating. And then that committee can kind of work together to determine who they'd like to chair it and how they'd like to proceed. So if you're into beautification and you want to get involved in that way, please let us know. We'd love you to do that. We are connecting with folks from Merion Green, who's kind of an independent group who's been doing neighborhood cleanups here in the community the last couple of years. We're planning to talk to him at our board meeting in a couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll have some information to share with folks about how you can get involved in those cleanups if you're interested. So stay tuned. And last but not least, if you're interested in helping us with our membership committee, that's both residential memberships and business. So we're relaunching our business memberships this year after a hiatus last year and somewhat in 2020 as well. And that kind of involves, engaging with our local business owners and folks who run businesses in the area, just to see if they're interested in joining as one of our members. We have tiers to support the association, and in turn, how we can support them. And then, of course, we're always interested in building up our residential memberships as well, which is, coordinating with other folks to knock on doors, or just, get folks engaged and bring them in so that they can join us and add some more voices to our group. So always looking for that. If you're interested, let us know. We'd love to have you. Otherwise, if you don't like any of those things, there's always something you can do. So if you want to get involved, you're not sure how, fill out the volunteer form on our website. I'll actually post it here in chat, and just kind of let us know what you're interested in, what your skill set is, what you think you might like to do. And I guarantee you there is something that you can help add. So we would love to hear from you. All right, I'm going to go into committee updates. We don't have anything from beautification tonight. Again, kind of rebuilding that committee. So for now, we'll just kind of wait to hear from folks who might want to participate. Membership, same. We're working internally on some things, but if you want to get involved, let us know. We already heard from Lauren on zoning, and we are looking for a chair there. So I will just, Mike, if you're still here and you want to talk about the next happy hour.
Yep. Yeah. I was very sad to miss the last one. It looked like a great turnout. Saw some of the pictures online from that. Lauren and I had to head out on a trip right after that, so didn't want to go out right before we were leaving. But we were chatting about where our next happy hour should be this month, and I just realized Eric actually pointed out that Rumors is now open on Parsons, and that's the former Daddy's location. And for anyone that doesn't know, the owners of Slammers took over that building and just opened a new bar. And Slammers is a great restaurant. I think this one, Slammers being LG, gay and lesbian focus. This one is has a similar slant, but they say they're open to all. They don't have food, but they have food trucks. So I'm very excited to go check it out, and I think it'd be a good spot for our next one. So I forgot to look at the date. Yes, look at the calendar. So that would be the 17th. So we'll plan on being there. It seemed like the 6 o'clock time worked well last time, so let's go with that instead of the earlier 5:30. So Eric, you can let your dogs out before you have it.
This is me thinking way too far ahead, but so the third Thursday in March will actually be St. Patrick's Day. So you'll have to let us know if you want to join someone else's celebration or what we want to do for that month.
Okay, that's I did not realize that, but
I
I
didn't
will
until
say
just
it'll
before.
go
So
well.
definitely don't go to Hey Hey on St. Patrick's Day.
I would say that would go well wearing maybe our green Merion Village shirts if you have those. So,
Or want to buy them.
or want to buy them, yeah, that's another
Yes, or want to
option.
buy one.
But that's it for me. So yeah, and you know, everyone that would like to come out and celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I guess that'd be perfect.
And if you're interested in helping out Mike with social activities as we kind of get back into the flow of doing those, that's something you can do as well. If you want to help plan and come up with ideas, social committee could certainly use other bodies so Mike doesn't have to do it all. So see, another way to get involved to volunteer. I told you the possibilities are endless.
He didn't do it last month anyway, so.
I know.
It was all David last month.
Yes, thank you, David, for
Recover.
stepping in. Okay, so that's it for our
Member at
committee of-
large, as other duties as assigned.
wherever we need it. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, we will move on then. Aaron, are you still? Aaron, you are our commission rep who is here tonight. Would you have any updates you'd like to give us from the Southside Area Commission? She's muted. I can't tell if she's just like trying to get rid of me, or are you still here, Aaron? Okay, we'll swing back. She may have stepped away for a moment. I don't think anyone here has been to any recent block watch meetings, but I'll just pause for a second in case I'm wrong about that, if anyone has any updates to share. Okay.
I don't think they've had any meetings.
I don't think so either. I know the library did reopen for meetings, and that's where they typically hold them, but I wasn't sure if they actually resumed meeting yet or not. So, okay, well, we'll just wait to hear updates from there to share with folks. Let's see here. I'll go over community activities and then I'll circle back to see if Aaron is with us and wants to give updates. So the Southside Area Commission has their monthly meeting. The next one of those will be Tuesday, February 22nd. They meet at the Barrack Recreation Center. If you're interested in attending that. Of course, our next monthly meeting will be Wednesday, March 3rd here on Zoom again. We hope to see all of your faces again. And I challenge each of you to bring a neighbor as well. Have them come join us too. Tell them they can do it from their couch while they eat their dinner. We're happy with that. Just like to have folks join us and get to know us and get their voices in the pool. And then we are very excited to announce the return of the Southside Scholarship Chili Cook-Off. So we are going to be hosting that with our friends at Hey Hey in their back room on Sunday, March 20th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So you can bring a chili to that, whether you want to bring meat or vegetarian variety. We'll have little prizes for the winners in each category. And then, of course, we will be raising money for the scholarship. All proceeds go to the scholarship. It is $5 for all of the chili you can taste. And, you know, a nice, healthy rivalry of folks who want to be the winner. We have at least one person here who has been the winner before, and hopefully she will be bringing a delicious veggie chili again this year. Lauren, I hope.
It doesn't matter if she does. Meat is coming back. Meat.
Oh, okay.
Last 2 years, meat has not won, so meat is coming back.
Eric is from Texas, and he sounds a little bitter about that. So
not bitter, just definitely willing to step up this year.
Okay.
So we gotta.
Well, then
everybody
maybe you
knows us,
should
you're gonna
step
be
it up,
getting
Eric.
well, we're gonna start working now. So if you know us, you're gonna start getting we're gonna start making chili for the next month to get ready. So to practice.
Gotta make
Get it all
those
tested.
practice chilies.
Exactly.
Although I will say that one year that who was it that brought the jackfruit chili and you couldn't even taste that it was actually jackfruit and you thought it was like pork.
Was it
that
Tony?
was actually really. No, it was
I think that was at a potluck.
Was that a potluck? Was it
I think so.
Christmas and not? Okay. Anyways, it was really good.
Well, either way, we always like to have a great variety. If you're on Facebook and you want to hop over to the Facebook event that we posted, just add a comment, let us know what you're bringing, just so we can have an idea of how many chilies to expect. I think, does Hey Hey still have that large bar that we kind of always use in the back, or is that gone? I couldn't tell from pictures.
They just moved it. It's further. It's around the corner of the bookcase. It used to be right in front of the bookcase. Now it's kind of around the corner.
Okay, well, Hey Hey is always a phenomenal host for this event, and they've hosted our potluck for several years, so it's always a really great time and a great space. But we like to have an idea of how many chilies to expect, so you can hop over there and add a comment, tell a friend, We're excited for this to be back, and we will also launch an online fundraiser through Facebook for the scholarship as well. If you're not able to make it to the chili cook-off, but you still want to help support the scholarship, if you're unfamiliar with that, that allows us to award at least one scholarship to a South Side student at South High School each year. We've been doing that now for, I believe this will be our 5th year. So really excited to get to do that again. And the more we raise, the better scholarships we're able to offer. So we hope that that will go well again this year. Okay, Erin. Nope, she's gone. Okay, no updates for Southside Area Commission tonight. I will open the floor briefly again. I do see some unfamiliar names, so if anybody wants to just take a minute, introduce themselves, say hello, we'd love to meet you. I see somebody popped in.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. This is Drew and Nikki Cooper. We just moved into Merion Village about 2 months ago. We bought a house on Gate Street, 173 East Gates, so right at the corner of Gates and Jaeger. Yeah, had rented in German Village before moving down here. Loved the area and wanted to stay close. So we both work downtown. We have a dog, a golden retriever named Lucky, so you may see us out and about walking him. So if you do, feel free to stop us and say hello. But it's great to be a part of the neighborhood.
Well, welcome home. Sounds like Merion Village is the perfect place for you and your pup. We have lots of. We are a very dog-friendly neighborhood. How did you guys find out about our meeting tonight?
We joined the association, right?
Oh, yeah, we had someone recommend it to us. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to them, and thank you for giving us a shot and stopping by. We love having you here. We hope we'll see you again next month, and we hope that you'll volunteer for one of our many, many, many volunteer opportunities sometime soon.
Absolutely.
And bring chili to the chili cook-off.
Yes, and bring chili
during the meeting already. So
nice. Okay, what any other gosh, losing my ability to speak. Anyone else like to say hello? I won't force anybody, but you know.
We did meet Brandon earlier, but looks like he has a guest, and we haven't met the guest yet. So hi, Brandon's guest.
Putting him on the spot. And then Miles, I see Miles as well. So Brandon and guest, if you want to say hello, and then Miles perhaps.
Hi, I'm Mandy. I was in Lynn Maxwell's frame earlier. We're the owner-occupied duplex on 189, 191 East Markeson. We've been in the neighborhood 6 years now.
Nice.
And then Lynn is my mom plus tenant.
Oh, so nice.
That's why we were joining earlier today.
Is this your first meeting with the association? Have you ever come before?
We've come before.
Okay. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
They've also been on the garden tour.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Well, you could possibly be on the garden tour again then.
We love repeaters.
We do.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Thank you both for joining us. Miles, would you like to say hello?
Sure. I'm Miles Thomas. My wife and I live on Thurman Avenue. We're at 373. We've lived in this house for a year and a half, I think. I guess I've been down in this area for most of my life, but actually just joined the association last month for the first time.
Well, welcome. What brought you to the meeting tonight?
I meant to come, so I joined last month. I missed last month's meeting, had another conflict, but I guess just being down here, we're just starting the process. I want to be more involved in, I guess, that community feeling down here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. And I'm so happy to see so many new faces. This is always my favorite thing, is getting to meet new folks. Even if it isn't in person, I'm still thrilled to see all these new faces. So, okay, well, before we close, does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
I do.
Oh, go right for it.
So I was trying to pull up the information, but of course I can't find it, and the number has escaped my head. But we're getting ready to restart a new session of our compost. And I've got actually Aaron and Brandon and Mandy are both on the team. So we're getting to renew a session here. I think it's at the end of February. I'm not 100%, but I think it's at the end of February. So I believe it's $34, $30, somewhere around there, for a 4-month session. But so it's through the Compost Exchange. You get a bucket, you fill it with your compost, you tie your bag, you drop your bag in a big bin at my house, and you go home. So it's a really cool opportunity for people who may not have the time or the space to compost at home, but are very concerned about the environment. And Ray with the Compost Exchange is a really cool guy. And if you ever want to talk about compost, he has a lot to share. So it may actually be a good opportunity to bring him in here to talk to everyone. But we do have a large team, so we are on the lower end of the fee, which I do feel for like 4 months, it's like super low. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. But I always post in the Merion Village Forum and then on Nextdoor, so you'll see it in there if you forget. But happy to answer any questions, and I'll look at the fee because I forget.
Do you get the composted stuff back?
He will bring you like a little. It's like I forget how big it is, but it's a small bucket. Hardly anybody ever takes it. I always leave it there. They never take it. So if they don't take it, I just put it at the park.
That's really cool.
You will get, like, at the end of every session, I just say, bring us all the buckets, because you have to request it or they won't bring it. I say, bring us all the buckets, and then I tell our people, if you want it, take it. I'll leave it there for like 2 weeks, and then I'll go dump it at the park.
Oh, that's pretty neat, actually. Thank you for sharing that.
So basically you're saying that now if you sign up for the garden tour, you get a free bucket of compost. It's now one of our...
That's true. What if we get a gazillion people? It's not a whole bucket. It's like this big. Also, so I am the Compost Captain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I feel
t-shirt
like
or
you
a
need a
badge?
or a crown or something.
Yeah, my aunt was gonna get me a whistle, but she never did. So that's right. I have whistles.
Oh my God.
But it's fun, and it's like a good group of people. I have a Facebook page for our team where we'll check in because some people found that it didn't fit their lifestyle, but really it's just something that you have to work in to your routine. And because we have a large team, like if we had like when I started, I had to take my bucket to someone else's house, leave my bucket there, and then come back later and pick up my bucket. So that is double the work. And sometimes it wouldn't be picked up, and so it was frustrating. But since we have a big team, if we can keep a big team, we have a big bin that whatever day works for you, you can just drop your bag in and go.
Cool.
I wanted just real fast for all the new people, especially check us out. We have Merion Village Facebook and Instagram. So where we try to post all the things about, everything, but especially things that are happening in the community. We'll be posting about our festival and the chili cook-off and all of those things. And so it's just a good way to kind of stay plugged in addition to, if you're a member, you'll get the newsletter emailed, but the social media is pretty, we try to keep it fairly active. So check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
We have one more person that would like to say hello, so please jump right in.
Hi, I'm Rachita, and my husband Rob was on the call earlier and he left. He had to take my daughter out. But we moved, I was in the meeting last, I think it was last month, and I didn't get a chance. I don't think I introduced myself then. So I thought I'd introduce myself now. We joined the MVA Association and we moved to the area back in August. We lived on Deschler, 381 East Deschler. So hopefully we'll get to meet all of you, or maybe we've seen some of you walking around. It's myself, my husband Rob, and we have 3 kids, 2 of which are older, so out and about. But our younger one is with us. So hi everyone, and I hope to bring chili, a vegetarian chili at some point.
Wonderful.
You've got stiff competition.
I hear.
Well, I'm a few months late because you've been here since August, but welcome. So glad to have you in the neighborhood. Thank you for joining us tonight. Love that you're here, and thank you for being a member as well.
Thank you.
Very much so. Great to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, before we adjourn, does anyone else have anything they would like to share before we meet next month? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all so much. This was a wonderful meeting this evening. Appreciate everybody being here and sticking around until the end. We'll see you all next month.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, folks.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.